I wanted to comment on the Department of Justice and the Eric Adams stuff, and just to explain kind
Please.
of how a normie, like especially as a mother, reacts to this. And at the end of 2021, in the deep blue state where our kids were still masked and vaccine mandates were coming down the line, the Department of Justice put out a memo that said parents speaking at Board of Ed meetings were domestic terrorists. And to see that come from our Justice Department attacking everyday Americans that were just trying to do right by our kids was so all encompassing. Like, as a parent, you'll never know. So now when I see people, and forgive me, you might have, and Mark might have been banging your hands on the table about that memo, just as you are now about this one, and I'm sure you were. But as a person who saw that and reacted to it, it was the government coming against their own people and attacking their own people for something I think is absolutely outrageous. So now that Trump is playing that same card, but using it to go after, or not even to go after, to stop going after government officials to help clean up what an out of control, not democratic, what I would call party that were in our country for the last 4 years, to clean up the mess they made and use the same tactics that they used against us, but towards the government. It doesn't bother me because we
Yeah.
have been living in this crazy world where the government was coming after everyday citizens all the time, that now that they're just going after or trying to relieve some of the barriers that are in the way, like it doesn't resonate to freak out about it. And it actually makes me angrier that more people weren't banging their tables harder about the Department of
Yep.
Justice coming after parents at a Board of Ed.
Alex, as I say often on this program, you speak for tens of millions. Thank you for saying that so eloquently. How many times have you voted for Donald Trump? Oh, you're muted. Hold on. Unmute. One more time. There you go. How many times did you vote for Donald Trump?
Once I voted for him this round.
And did you vote for Hillary Clinton in 16?
No, I voted for independent in 16.
Yeah. And 20, you voted for Biden?
No, I also
No.
voted
Okay.
independent.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Mark, question for Alex, if you'd like to.
At what point did you decide I need to vote for Donald Trump and not vote independent?
I There's a lot of reasons, but I would say the biggest reason was what was done to my children during the Biden years, regarding masks and vaccines and coming after parents, a lot of what was going on in the schools. And I basically wanted a return to the late 90s. I think the last
Who doesn't?
15 years
Good years.
been, and Trump to me seems like a return to the late 90s. I want inappropriate jokes. I want fun. I want
No email.
yeah. No, but
No iPhone.
Yeah, I was a big BlackBerry person. Actually, I loved
Yeah.
BlackBerry.
Yeah. Like this, Alex, like this.
Well, you could type notes and talk to people without looking at, like, you could look them in the eye and like type a whole story or an interview. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When the BlackBerry was clearly going away, I was working at Bloomberg News, and I asked him to buy me 6 of them, so I'd have like a store, thinking I'd still be able to use them even though the system went down. Bacha, question for Alex.
I love what you said. I always say I think Donald Trump is kind of a New Deal Democrat more than he is a Republican. He just picked up that kind of normie platform on so many levels. I want to ask you something maybe a little bit extreme, but I wonder, it seems to me like, okay, and like, just bear with me for a second, but do you think that maybe there was something similar in January 6th about that? Because to me, it seemed almost like with January 6th, you had all of these politicians at a time when American cities were experiencing a lot of crime and a lot of danger, and a lot of progressive and democratic politicians were kind of on the side of the criminals. Then after January 6th, they sort of for 4 years demanded that Americans vote on the like 2 hours of their lives that they were ever facing. Actually didn't even turn out to be very dangerous because nobody was armed, but let's put that aside. Let's just accept that they were facing danger on that day. like demanding that the Americans who they sentenced to a constant life of like danger and crime and not caring about them put their safety first and foremost. And I wonder if this is a very similar thing to what you're pointing out, which is like these elite politicians, it's like they impose on us a standard that then they consider utterly outrageous when it comes to them. And that's very alienating to normies. What do you think about my analogy?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think I will say, like, no one made me more MAGA. I'm full blown MAGA now. Like, I'm on the MAGA train. Like, I have a cat in my backyard on our snowman right now. Like, I am full blown MAGA now. And what I would say is, like, nothing pushed me more towards MAGA than the average center left person telling me that I couldn't use the same tools that the left would use because I had to be the moral person. I had to do the right thing. I had to. And so
Right.
I feel like that are like, we're so over those arguments because we tried to play by the rules. We tried to do it the fair way. And all of these tools were used against us in a very aggressive way. And now that we're finally using them, we're finally finding the power to reclaim what we want to be ours. It's like, well, where's your moral standing? Where's your,
Yeah.
why aren't you worrying about this? And I just, for it, when you say January 6th and BLM, like the BLM summer, I had empathy for BLM. I understood people were outraged and angry. I don't think burning down buildings was the right thing to do, but I had empathy for it. And so I also didn't think posting a black box was going to change anything, so that annoyed me. But then on the January 6th stuff, it's like I had empathy for those people too. Like they were frustrated, they're angry. Like our whole country was angry for a long time, and I just I think we needed to give grace to both sides.